Bob Chapman is our guest. I'm going to jam in these phone callers, Lance, Smedley, Paula, Steve. So it'll just be a smorgasbord coming up the next two segments, but I'm going to get to you. Now, because I want to hear what you have to say, we appreciate your calls, and then I feel guilty when I don't get to them. But I've complained for you. You don't have to complain. But going back to Bob Chapman, Bob, the big central banks want to create a new Ponzi scheme, a global currency, a global government. They're now admitting it. They're now offering that as a solution to all the problems that they generated. So for those that are new listeners, it's now admitted the world government's real, run by the banking cartel, just like the old-timers told you 50 years ago was the plan. So that's a foregone conclusion. The question is, what will it be backed in? Well, when you read the IMF and World Bank plans, the UN statements, Steve Forbes in Forbes, they're all saying that it's going to be gold-backed, or at least partially gold-backed. And obviously that's because the globalists have been hoarding gold. Now, some then argue against a gold-backed currency because they've done that. Regardless of what your view is of what the currency should be based in, that's where things are moving. So, Bob Chapman, break it down for us.
Well, I think that in order to make any currency work, particularly at this time, because of the opposition to a non-backed currency by the BRIC countries, and for those of you who don't know, there's Russia and China and India and Iran and Brazil, and they certainly do not want to do a world currency. This has no backing, because they just saw what happened since August of 1971 to the U.S. dollar. So I don't see how they can have a currency and make people accept it without having gold. And if they've got piles of gold, who cares? You worry about the currency that you're going to be using, what you've got in hand. Also, people say, well, suppose we get to the end of the trail here and gold's 8,000 and silver's 500, and then all we're going to do is change it for dollars. Well, they may be different dollars. And there's no rule that says that you have to exchange your money, exchange your gold and silver for dollars. You may barter it, or at the same time, you may keep it and do nothing with it. And so, and another thing, we don't know what's coming down the road, really. We're all trying to back into what we think they will do.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to ask you.
They will do. And incidentally...
Sorry, go ahead.
I just was going to say that the SDR, by the rules of the IMF, cannot be gold-backed. So it's not going to be an SDR unless they have an unbacked currency, and I don't think they'll do that.
Now, expanding on just the craziness, and we don't know what they're going to do next, what do you think of the whole bin Laden situation, the bin Laden killing?
Oh, I don't think he was killed. He's dead long, December of 2001.
Come on, Bob, the government wouldn't lie.
Benazir Bhutto, of course not. I know that, Alex. But I have an opinion, even though the government might be mistaken. But anyway, Benazir Bhutto come out and said, look, this man's dead. And they whacked her 3 months later. So it must have been really, really important, because she was an agent of the CIA and MI6.
And that's on record. But wait, our own media told us Benazir Bhutto hit her head. It was all over the news, and then video was released. They machine-gunned her. But our government are such truthful people. They told us she hit her head. And so I say she hit her head, and the bin Laden killing last week is real, Bob.
Well, then I'm going to have to arrange for some incarceration for you.
I need electroshock therapy.
Yes. Like they used to do in the 30s, which is horrible.
Bob, the government's lied to us over and over again and been caught lying. I think it's insane that you don't trust them. When people lie to you over and over again and have been caught committing every crime you can imagine, that means they're good people, and you believe the next thing they tell you. You are a weirdo.
Well, that's probably true, and I've been told that for a long, long time. But there's about probably 40 to 50% of the population that is waking up to the fact that these things that government does are not real.
No. They're not waking up. They're going insane like you have.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's insane.
Right. And that's all over the world. Listen, I've got people writing to the SEC and the CFTC about the market rigging, and the letters are coming from Russia and Italy and all over the place. And I wonder what the two regulatory agents are thinking. Hey, these letters are coming from all over the world. I mean, they know what we're doing.
Well, no. This is a mass delusion. Ben Bernanke cares about us. The Federal Reserve are good people. Henry Paulson getting $200 million of his own bailout money that he directed from the Treasury. That's normal. And bin Laden was killed a week and a half ago. It's all true. And Obama cares about us. And the Supreme Court of Indiana getting rid of the Fourth Amendment is good. And if you like the Fourth Amendment, you're an extremist. And the TSA sticking their hands down your pants, that's good. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.